and after makes a joke about Chuck Schumer. Apparently, they're able to get along okay. Then is he really the fascist and the Nazi and the threat to the republic?
Wait,
that the
he
left
calls
says
us
he is?
fascists too. So is he also doing that two-faced thing? Because he laughed along with them and got along with them, even though he says we're going to end the country, and if he doesn't win, the country's going to be finished.
Well, here's what I think, Luke. I do think it was a massive mistake of Kamala Harris. It was a massive mistake of her not to go to that dinner.
YouTuber Luke Beasley was a guest on Piers Morgan Show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, to go up against a panel with right-wingers Larry Elder and Dave Rubin, and of course, Piers Morgan himself, as well as Democratic strategist Amisha Cross. In the clip we're going to take a look at here, Piers Morgan wants the panel to debate the idea of whether or not Donald Trump is funny. So we're going to take a look at this clip from Piers Morgan Uncensored. I'm going to share my thoughts from time to time on this. Let's check this out together.
Hang on, I want to play a test here. I want to play a mashup of Trump's best gags from the Al Smith Catholic dinner night, but I want Amisha and Luke to look at me, and I want you to try and avoid laughing, right? Which is what all Democrats have been trying to do. So you're not allowed to laugh, all right? Let's watch this.
Deal.
It's a true pleasure to be with you this evening. Amazing pleasure. And these days, it's really a pleasure anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance. I didn't like Biden very much, and now I like him quite a bit. You know, it's... And when we hopefully win, dispose of her, I like her a lot, but right now I can't stand her. Believe me, my normal crowd is younger, has a lot more energy, but you have certain advantages too, like cash, lots of cash. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away. That's a nasty one. Hey, you think this is easy standing up here and doing this? In front of half a room that hates my guts and the other half loves me?
Well, Amisha, you did better than Luke. Luke, you were trembling there. The bottom lip was going. You couldn't stop yourself. How can you not laugh at that stuff? It's a roast. It's supposed to be a funny roast.
I got you. Wait, I got you. What I was smiling about is I wasn't ready to see on the monitor that you were going to put this up there. So that was funny. But let me clarify. People get in this argument of, does Trump have charisma? Is he funny? Obviously, that's how he built the cult that he built. I'm not concerned with the humor scale of a president. I want someone with character. So I agree. Sometimes he says stuff and I laugh. Sometimes it's because it's so incoherent and embarrassing that I'm laughing at him. But sometimes he says a joke like some of them there and they're perfectly fine. But that's not what determines a president. And he can both be sort of a caricature and sort of silly while also, last time he was president, refusing to leave office until his illegal schemes failed. Okay. Last time he was president.
So this is something that Piers Morgan does all the time. First of all, simp for Trump. He does that all the time. Even though he claims he's not a right-winger, you know, Piers doth protest too much about that. He is a right-winger. I get comments from people in the UK all the time who say, yeah, Piers Morgan is a right-winger. But he also does this thing where it's like, look, lefties, you know, you're just going to have to face the facts that blah, 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 whatever. And in this case, it's like they're not going to laugh at Trump. Well, as Luke Beasley is saying, Donald Trump can be funny. And I would agree with that. You know, he's, you know, the things like the nicknames, Little Marco and all that kind of stuff, that stuff is funny. Low energy Jeb Bush, you know, that, you know, he called Jeb Bush low energy, and that was pretty much the end of Jeb Bush. And that was funny. These jokes, these clearly were jokes that were written for him. He's reading them off of cue cards. The jokes aren't funny. Amisha Cross and Luke Beasley didn't laugh because these aren't funny jokes. But Luke Beasley is not like, oh no, I am a Democrat, so I would never laugh at anything Donald Trump says. He admits that Donald Trump can be funny. Sometimes you're laughing at him, sometimes you're laughing with him. And I know there are lots of hosts on the left, the Majority Report, they all will talk about how funny Trump is. They don't like Trump. They don't want him to be president, but they admit that he's funny. Hassan Piker talks about how funny Trump is. So, but like Luke Beasley is saying, this isn't really necessarily a prerequisite to be president. Donald Trump was a TV guy. He can clearly be entertaining. He was on TV for years, but That doesn't make him qualified to be president of the United States. And again, Piers Morgan is always simping for Trump and always criticizing the Democrat, whether it's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, whoever else.
President mismanaging a global crisis. So can we talk about the substance while I'll acknowledge we don't have to ignore there are moments, mostly because we're laughing at him, where he's inducing laughter.
Yeah, I mean, Larry, I thought that Dave hit onto a really smart.
And of course, Piers Morgan doesn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Luke Beasley, I misjudged you. You have more of a sense of humor than I thought you had." Of course, he just glosses right over that to go into his next thing, where it'll be praising Trump and putting down Kamala Harris.
Thing about this campaign, which is Trump has done a lot of this with very unconventional media, a lot of young podcasts, a lot of stuff you would never expect a presidential candidate to go on. He's been devoting a lot of time to this. And I know why, because they have millions and millions of younger followers. And if he can galvanize them to come out and vote, he's going to win.
That's right. And let me suggest that the reason Kamala Harris did not go to the dinner is because when you call somebody a fascist and a Nottler and a Hitler and a threat to our republic, then you sit back and break bread and crack jokes with them. It suggests that you really weren't serious when you said all those mean, nasty things about him. And I think it undermined her argument. That's why I believe she didn't show up. He sits there, he makes fun with Chuck Schumer, talks to Chuck Schumer before and after, makes a joke about Chuck Schumer. Apparently, they're able to get along okay. Then is he really the fascist and the Nazi and the threat to the republic?
Wait,
that the
he
left
calls
said he
us
is?
fascists too. So is he also doing that two-faced thing? Because he laughed along with them and got along with them, even though he says we're going to end the country, and if he doesn't win, the country's going to be finished.
Well, here's what I
with
think,
enemy from
Luke.
within.
I do think it was a massive mistake of
He doesn't
Kamala
say
Harris.
that.
It was a massive mistake of her not to go to that dinner. It just showed me she can't laugh at herself in public.
So Kamala Harris, Piers Morgan says, can't laugh at herself in public. And we have Donald Trump, who's the most thin-skinned person in politics that we've ever seen. Donald Trump ran for president to begin with because Barack Obama made fun of him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that was the villain origin story for Donald Trump. That was what got him to run, because he was so angry that that Barack Obama made fun of him, and he doesn't go to the White House Correspondents' Dinners anymore. Or, you know, he didn't, I don't think, most of the time that he was president. But again, Piers Morgan simping for Donald Trump, putting down Kamala Harris. And Larry Elder and Piers Morgan here, you know, this idea of, oh, Kamala Harris didn't attend this event. She's done 1 million appearances after a month or so ago when the right-wingers were all complaining, saying that she was hiding and was only doing rallies and not doing interviews. Now she goes on every show.
I just thought it was a ridiculous act of cowardice, frankly. Amisha?
Cowardice.
Wait, but Trump's the one who
I don't
didn't
think
want to go
that
to the
dinner made a darn
correspondence
bit of
dinner.
difference
He
on the
hates.
campaign trail. I think that individuals, he hasn't been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner in years. He never really went because he didn't want to be made fun of. In Kamala's case, she's been the Democratic nominee since the DNC, which was, a little over 2 months ago. At the end of the day, she has a jam-packed calendar of events in the battleground states. She's touching the flesh. She's talking to people where they are. She's making sense for the campaign she has to run, which is the shortest one we've ever seen in American history. She is prioritizing the events that are already in her calendar. And at the end of the day, even Donald Trump knows that the Al Smith dinner is not going to be the make or break dinner of this campaign cycle. It's just not.
Okay.
And Amisha Cross is exactly right here. And Piers Morgan says that Kamala Harris it was cowardly of her not to go to that. No one cares about the Al Smith dinner. You know, do you talk to anybody that's like, oh man, Kamala didn't go to the Al Smith dinner? Most people would be like, what the hell is the Al Smith dinner? Oh, she didn't go to the Al Smith dinner, so that's going to be the end of her. I mean, what a bunch of nonsense. And you talk about cowardice. Donald Trump is the guy that backed out of the 60 Minutes interview that every nominee has been a part of since 1968. Donald Trump said he was going to do it, and then he backed out. Kamala Harris was there to do the interview with 60 Minutes, but Donald Trump wouldn't do it because he claims that they said that Hunter Biden's laptop was a Russian hoax, which was not true. That was not said by 60 Minutes. And Donald Trump demanded an apology for that. You know, Piers Morgan talks about crybaby, or not crybaby, but Kamala Harris being a coward. Donald Trump is a massive crybaby. He wants an apology for something that has to do with Hunter Biden that wasn't even said by 60 Minutes. Come on. But again, Piers Morgan always simping for Donald Trump, always putting down. Previously, it was Joe Biden because he was the nominee, and now it's Kamala Harris. But Piers Morgan always claims, you know, he gets called out by it, gets called out on it by people like Cenk Uygur when they're on his show, and Francesca Fiorentini. And Piers Morgan always claims that he's not a right-winger and he's not supporting Donald Trump when he is. It's just as simple as that. But what do you think about this particular section of this panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored? The whole thing is about 40 minutes long. You can watch it on Piers Morgan's channel. I just wanted to share this little clip here because I thought it was indicative of kind of Piers Morgan's mindset. And you have Larry Elder here and Dave Rubin who, you know, are going to do their thing to toe the MAGA party line. But I think Luke Beasley and Amisha Cross did a good job of pointing out how ridiculous the right-wingers are being with this. But let me know what you think. Make sure to leave me a comment about Piers Morgan, Luke Beasley, Donald Trump, anything that you want to comment on. I love to read your comments. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. The channel's growing really quickly. Well over 30,000 subscribers now. I want to push it up into that 50,000, 100,000 range. And I can do that with your likes and comments and subscribe. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so I can bring out more content like this. This is Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.